At 2:03 a.m., Daniel Mercer's phone rang. No caller ID. He answered anyway. A calm female voice spoke. "The merger vote has been moved to 6 a.m.? Daniel sat up in bed. "That's impossible," he said. "The vote is scheduled for Monday." "Not anymore," the voice replied. "And before sunrise, one of your board members will be dead." The line went silent. No threat. No demand. Just information. Daniel checked his encrypted board app. Emergency session scheduled. 6 a.m. Mandatory attendance. Reason: confidential acceleration clause. His stomach tightened. The merger with TitanCore Technologies was worth $4.2 billion. If approved, Daniel's company would dominate the AI security market. If rejected, their stock would crash. But that wasn't the real danger. 3 weeks ago, Daniel discovered something buried deep in the merger contract. A key executive insurance acceleration clause. If a board member died before the merger closed, certain share distributions would trigger early payout conditions. Translation? Someone would make a fortune. Daniel had tried to ignore it. Until now. He opened the internal shareholder structure. Only one board member stood to gain massively from such a clause. Victor Hale, early investor, quiet, calculated, never emotional, and insured for $90 million. Daniel checked the time. 2:11 a.m. If the caller was right, Victor wouldn't see sunrise. Daniel grabbed his jacket and left his apartment. While driving through the silent city, he replayed the voice in his head. It wasn't panicked. It wasn't rushed. It was controlled, as if the death was already scheduled. At 2:32 a.m., Daniel called Victor. No answer. He tried again. Voicemail. He sent a text. "Call me, urgent." No response. Daniel's thoughts spiraled. If Victor died before the vote, the insurance payout would flow to his holding company, which secretly had cross-ownership ties to TitanCore, which meant the merger would become financially irresistible. Someone could be manufacturing a death to secure the deal. Daniel suddenly understood the real trap. If he warned Victor and nothing happened, he would look paranoid. If he warned him and it leaked, the merger would collapse. But if he stayed silent and Victor died, Daniel would become CEO of a newly merged empire. At 2:47 a.m., his phone buzzed. Unknown number again. "You're driving?" the voice said calmly. Daniel's grip tightened on the steering wheel. "How do you know that?" "You have two options," the voice continued. "Warn him and lose the merger, or say nothing and secure your future." "Who are you?" Silence. Then, "You built your company on risk calculations, Daniel? So calculate." The call ended. Daniel pulled over. His heartbeat pounded in his ears. This wasn't random violence. This was strategic manipulation. He opened the board's internal audit system. And there it was. An update filed at 1:58 a.m. Merger acceleration justified by market volatility. Filed by the chairman, but digitally approved from Victor's credentials. At 2:03 a.m. Victor either approved it, or someone used his access. Daniel made a decision. He turned the car around. Instead of going to Victor's penthouse, he drove to headquarters. If someone was orchestrating this, the proof would be digital. At 3:18 a.m., Daniel entered the empty office floor. Security logs showed something strange. Victor's keycard had been used at 1:41 a.m. Inside the building, Daniel's pulse spiked. Victor wasn't home. He was here. Daniel rushed to the executive floor. The lights were off. The boardroom door was slightly open. Inside, Victor sat alone at the table, alive, calm, waiting. "You're early," Victor said softly. Daniel froze. "What is this?" Victor folded his hands. "A test." Daniel stared at him. The insurance clause, the accelerated vote, the anonymous call, it was all engineered. "By you?" Daniel asked. Victor nodded slowly. "I needed to know something," he said. "When faced with power, do you protect morality or profit?" Daniel felt anger rising. "You staged your own death?" "I staged a scenario," Victor corrected, "because TitanCore doesn't want a CEO who hesitates." Daniel realized the truth. TitanCore knew about the insurance clause. They wanted someone ruthless at the helm. If Daniel stayed silent and let a death happen, he would prove he could make hard decisions. If he warned Victor, he would prove he was a liability. "This merger isn't about technology," Victor continued. "It's about control." Daniel stepped closer. "You manipulated the board." Victor smiled slightly. They agreed to the test. Daniel felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't about murder. It was about character and surveillance. The anonymous voice, a voice modulator. The accelerated vote, a psychological trap. Victor leaned back. "So tell me, Daniel, Were you going to warn me? Daniel didn't answer immediately. Instead, he pulled out his phone, opened the board app, and pressed a button. Emergency Disclosure Protocol. Every board member received a notification. Merger manipulation attempt detected. Evidence attached. Victor's smile faded. You just destroyed the deal. Daniel shook his head. No, I just exposed it. Within minutes, board members began calling in. Confused, angry. Daniel spoke calmly. The merger vote is compromised by coercive psychological testing. I refuse to proceed under manipulation. Silence filled the room. Then the chairman spoke. Daniel, you understand Titan Core will walk away. Daniel nodded. Then let them. Victor stood slowly. You just lost billions. Daniel met his eyes. I built this company without fear-based tests. He paused. And I won't lead it through one. By 6 a.m., the merger was officially suspended. Stock dipped 14%. Media speculated internal conflict. But something unexpected happened. Employees rallied behind Daniel. Investors praised transparency. And within weeks, a different company approached. No manipulation, no secret clauses, just partnership. Victor quietly resigned from the board. The anonymous calls stopped. And Daniel learned something far more valuable than profit. At 2 a.m., the real decision isn't about money. It's about who you become when no one is watching. Because sometimes, the biggest deal of your life is the one you walk away from.